All right, let's get started. So, everyone, this is my mother, Sophie Deville. She has a YouTube channel, and she focuses a lot on nutrition and food and recipes. It's usually tailored towards just trying to eat better. She's been doing this for the last 2 years, and if I can say so myself, she makes pretty good food and she knows quite a lot about nutrition. So, she's not a nutritionist, but she knows a lot, and so I wanted to present her to all of you so that you could so we could ask her a few questions and she could answer some questions for us. So
Thank you so much, Alexander, and everybody. I'm very happy to be here with you, very happy to be sharing this moment. And yes, any questions? Again, I am not a nutritionist, I am not a doctor, but I've been very interested in nutrition since the diagnosis of diabetes of both my boys in the past, almost 8 years. So there you are.
perfect. So that's good. So our first question that we have for you is why is it important for a student who is studying at university or school, but we're going to focus on university, to eat a healthy diet? So what is the importance of a healthy diet?
Well, as I've told you before, although I'm not a nutritionist, but I've been looking after my two boys with diabetes. And I have noticed that the good food choices and the bad food choices that you do affect directly your body with your glycemia, because I can see it I can see it with my boys with diabetes. So that's why I have more of a direct view about food. So it is very important to eat healthily, obviously, at any age. But particularly, I think that when you're a student and you start a new life and you need to learn a lot of new things. Everything is new for you. It's like a new learning curve where you have to learn how to live independently, and also you have to learn how to make good food choices for yourself. That because you don't have your parents who can help you, or you're just there on your own. So it's even more, I guess it's even more difficult, but it's better to start well and to try and eat healthily from the beginning. You obviously need all of your macronutrients that are fats, protein, and carbs, as well as the vitamins and the minerals. All of this is important. So it is important to have a healthy diet from get-go. My problem for you as students, especially in the morning, and Alexander will attest to that, is that eating cereals, any types of cereals, even like the healthy ones, the Kellogg's, I think they're called Kellogg Fitness, or the muesli, all of these things are extremely bad for your blood sugar, extremely bad. They are, first of all, they're full of sugar. Even if you try and get the healthy options, I can see through my boys with diabetes that it does peaks of glycemia like this. It's like your body responding to sugar. So I would highly recommend not to eat cereals in the morning, but instead, for very nutritious and something that will keep you satiated, all morning, have like what I'm doing at the moment for Alexander's brother is some queso batido, like a what is it called? It's like a yogurt sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a yogurt with almonds, walnuts, pecan nuts, and then some blueberries, raspberries. That can be this. And then after that, I make him a little tortilla with some ham and some cheese, grated cheese in it, that I heat up. This is a great breakfast, counts as much in carbs as the cereals, and is just so much better for you. So for me, I would, if you want to start eating a healthy diet, focus on your breakfast and have protein for breakfast, most importantly.
Very good. That's good. I didn't know. I mean, I know that cereal has a lot of sugar, but I didn't realize it was that there was that much, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That actually leads perfectly into our next question, which is about how important breakfast is for students and people in general, because I know you were talking about macronutrients and all that, and carbohydrates and blood sugars and how those affect our brains. Would having breakfast in the morning affect, like, how important is breakfast really for a human being?
Well, basically, like everybody says, breakfast is most important meal of the day and blah, blah, blah. But it is true because what you're doing when you're having your breakfast is you break your fast, meaning you have been sleeping for 8 hours. Your body hasn't had any food, nothing at all for 8 hours. So you need to break the fast so that your body can replenish itself with glucose so that it can boost your energy levels, and it just helps with your whole body, with your brain. You just need to replenish your body with glucose.
Right.
Now, again, it is, I've told you about the cereals, but also it is always better, if you can, to have a salty breakfast. Don't have breakfast with croissant, pain au chocolat, all of this sweet stuff, although I very much like it. Bread and jam is French. I would love it, but you have to try and change that mindset and go for something salty and something with protein. So instead of having pain au chocolat and croissant, you can have, maybe they do that, some eggs on toast or some avocado on toast, but something that has got protein or a good fat, but that is not sugary, so that you stay satiated throughout the morning and you don't have these peaks of glycemia, these peaks of glucose that are not good for your brain and good for your general well-being.
Right. So on that topic, we know that you have your YouTube channel, which has a lot of recipes on it, and we just want to know, do you have any quick, easy, like healthy meals that we could have, very just simple ones, that as students we could make at home, for example, taking into account everything?
I mean, obviously, obviously I have all my YouTube channel consists of easy recipes. So anybody, if I can cook it, anybody can cook it, and I think that, but before I start with this, I want to tell you something about a book that I read recently. It's called The Glucose Revolution. And in this Glucose Revolution, I think, Alexander, you will link the title of the book.
Yeah.
But it has got, it tells you that also for doing good for your body without having to anything hard to do, is what is important is to eat the food in a particular order. So, for example, you would have the salads first, the vegetables first, or the lentils, or fiber, vegetables or fiber, then protein, and then last you eat your carbs. So, for example, for any meal, if you have, chicken with rice and broccoli, with thinking about what she's saying, you should have the broccoli first, then the chicken, then the rice. And I have seen it actually with my little one for his blood. It is true that it tends to keep your blood glucose stable. So what I would say is always start your meal with a salad. And if you want easy meals, I would think of this tortilla is absolutely brilliant, or like a burrito that you can make yourself, with inside you put some avocado, some eggs, some salmon, whatever you want to put in, but always remember to put, as you eat, a protein, a carb, and vegetables. I think that's the three important ingredients that you need to put every time you eat something. Just checking on my thing, because I've got a very, very easy lunch, or for me, I use it even for dinner. It's called a brick à l'œuf. This is a wonderful kind of phyllo pastry. It's Tunisian, but it's kind of a pastry in which you put your egg and you cook it in, you fry it in oil. And you can think, okay, frying is not very good, but doesn't use very much oil, and it's actually really, really nice. Very easy. You are done in 5 minutes. And then you can have your salad first, and then you can have this, which is an egg and a little bit of carbs from the brick, which is the kind of phyllo pastry. You can find it in Carrefour. It's quite easy. But otherwise, you can have, I don't know, you could have, like, if you buy chickpeas, you can have like a box of chickpeas, or you can have some hummus or lentils. You don't even have to cook it. You can just have it from a can and just add some more vegetables to it. So you could do something like this.
That's good. I like the idea of the bric à l'œuf, because it does encompass quite a lot of the, as you said, carbs, proteins, and
the salad the salad at the beginning.
And the salad at the beginning. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of which, eating vegetables and fruits for some people can be quite difficult, because they're quite expensive and all this. And so how can a student, eat more, like try to eat more vegetables and fruits by, for example, incorporating them into their foods?
So let's say forget about breakfast, lunch, dinner. And let's say that because during these, hopefully you will eat some vegetables. Mm-hmm. If you want to add more vegetables or fruits to your diet, I would focus on the 2 snacks that I would have. One at around 11 o'clock and another one around 4 or 5. If you wanted, for example, to have a snack with vegetables, I would recommend having vegetables with also protein. So, for example, you can have carrots or cucumber or celery, and then eat that with some hummus. Okay. That could be nice. Or if you want something sweet, you can get a Greek yogurt, and inside you put a lot of berries, because berries are very good for you, and they don't have too much sugar. So like blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, all of these, that could be a good idea to add your fruit intake by adding just these 2 snacks. I think could be a nice, unless you think about something else, but I think that could be good. Yeah.
Is it, out of curiosity, could you add vegetables to the bric à l'œuf, or is that more of just a?
Yes, actually, I did a recipe with that. Instead of having it with an egg inside, I had it with minced meat, and in which I added some peppers, onions, and other things. So you can always incorporate more into what you're having as well during the day, like for your 3 main meals of the day.
It's good. That's very good. So you have, me and my brother are both diabetic, and so our glycemia is quite important, and you've been taking care of us for the last 8 years when it comes to diabetes, so you know quite a bit about what I'm going to ask you. Yeah. But for people who are not type 1 diabetic, type 2 diabetic, or in gestational diabetes, is it important to know about your glycemia? Is it important to keep track of insulin spikes, how your sugar is, like the types of sugar you're consuming? Is all of that important for people who are not diabetic, or is it just important in general?
Well, I mean, obviously for you, anyone with diabetes, since you have to look at your glycemia all the time, it is important. Now, I don't know if people know what glycemia is. And I would say that, to make it easy, is that glycemia is the amount of sugar that you have in your body. So even now, if you go and have a yearly blood test, they will do a test that calculates your blood sugar in the past 3 months. So any person like me, or like anyone who goes for a yearly blood test will have this number. So the glycemia, the amount of blood in your the amount of sugar in your blood is extremely important. Not only because it can bring later on to problems like diabetes type 2 as well. But overall, eating too much sugar is not good for you. Now, it is very difficult to stop eating sugar. I've done it, and I'm telling you, this is really hard, but it is the best that you can do for your body to limit the consumption of sugar. So for this, I would tell you to, for example, limit or don't have any fruit juices. Even orange juices that you can have in the morning. You know, sometimes you can go here in Madrid and they give you an orange juice and something else to eat. But the orange juice is really bad because or there's no fiber, there's nothing, there's only the pure sugar of the orange. So I would recommend, it's better to eat a real orange, so you can have all of the fiber, all of the everything good of the orange inside your body. Is not going to spike your sugar as much as it would if you were drinking orange juice. So my at the moment, the most important I would say is eat fruits, don't juice, don't do this. This is not a good idea because it destroys the fiber. And unfortunately, go with water and tea. You know, I think it's always it's the best. You know.
Yeah. So basically, glycemia levels in everybody is important because it can bring problems for anybody.
Because you have, well, for people who have diabetes, it goes very much up like this. But for me, like a person who doesn't have diabetes, it would go little ones, but still it would just not good for you.
It accumulates after a while. No?
Yeah. Mm.
Okay. So back onto the topics of vegetables and proteins and all these different things. For people who are vegetarian or vegan, protein intake is sometimes quite an issue. And there's proteins in certain vegetables and all of this, but what are some vegetables or some sources of like protein for people who are vegetarian, for example? So
yes, so if you are vegetarian, that means that you don't want to eat, I guess, any meat products apart from eggs, if I understand well. So you will be able to find your protein source in it's called legumes like chickpeas, like lentils. These have a lot of protein, as well as nuts and seeds as well. So if you have, in your morning, like some almonds and some walnuts and things like this, you have to get your protein from these ingredients. I would say only that if you are vegetarian, you have to be careful not to lack vitamin B12, because B12 is only found in, mostly found in red meat, like bloody meat. So, but I've got it here actually, but it says that you can find it also in eggs and dairy products and poultry. So it's important still to eat, I guess dairy products or eggs if you can. Otherwise, just obviously check always with your doctor. But that could be an issue if you don't pay attention to that.
Would you think natural supplements, as in pills and things like that, for B12? Do you think those are? I know you're not a nutritionist per se, but
no, I'm not. No, but I took that course, the Stanford nutrition course.
Yeah.
And before I took that course, I was very much for vitamins. I was like, I wanted to get vitamins all the time. And after that course, I thought, actually, no, I don't think it's, for me, I don't think it is a good idea. But I think your body is very good at regulating itself, to be honest. And if you try and eat a diet that is varied, where you have a lot of, you have protein, you have good fats, you have carbs, that should give you all of your necessary nutrients. But I guess if you're not eating properly, then yes, maybe vitamins would be a good idea to take. But I am not a doctor, so I guess you would have to ask your doctor, what would be the best. But if you're not eating well, then, maybe. But it's better to get it from food than to get it from like a pill.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense, actually. I would like to ask you one more question, and then I think we'll be finished.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, we were talking about snacks.
Yes.
And food for breakfast for university students. And cooking's not always very easy for everybody. So
I know.
As a university student, sometimes I get hungry during the day and I don't really want to go to the cafeteria and just buy what they've got there. So do you know of any recipe that you have or that you found that has these, important energy supplying snacks that we could as university students have?
Well, you're putting me a bit on the spot, to be honest, but
I know, I'm sorry.
I would say that, I know it sounds boring, but I would just have with you always some fruits, like a banana it's very good for you, like a banana. You could even have banana and peanut butter if you wanted, because you can keep it in your room. You don't have to leave it in the fridge. You can just keep it out like this. So a banana with peanut butter, an apple with peanut butter, or you can even buy these little carrots, they're this big, they're very tiny, and you can have that. I think I would, because if you're looking for something that you can't refrigerate, that you want to keep at home like this at like the ambient temperature, I think, fruits would be the
go-to.
To be honest, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're
welcome. Was very informing, and I think
I don't know if anyone has any questions. Please, let me know. Or Alexander, you will leave my my contact details so that if anyone wants to, I don't know, talk to me or write to me, I'm very happy.
In case anybody has any questions, yeah.
Very happy to help you. Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this. This was super interesting.
Yeah, well, I'm glad. I hope it was not too complicated with the glycemia and everything, the blood sugars, but...
No, it's super interesting.
Oh, good. Good, I'm happy.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. And all the best to all of you in your studies. And maybe we'll meet again soon.
All right.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.